NBA Straya. How you going? How you going? Hope you're all right. You should be. Why is that, Jim? Oh, well, I mean, it's Thursday. How good are Thursdays? You get on the tins. Tomorrow's Friday. It's the great stuff. It is January 30, and I am your host, James Clements. This is, of course, NBA Straya. You can see my ugly face on the NBL Supercoach show, The Panel, which is very good. The AFL Today show, which is back like next week. Week after. NFL Straya as well. We've got our massive live Super Bowl stream going through the socials for that. But also, we're going to be hosting a party at the Catfish for that. So if you want to come down, if you're in Melbourne, smash some tins, watch the Soupy, come hang out. The Catfish. What's that? Feb 10? Monday? Oh, so many beers. Anyway, today's show in the fancy studios, De'Aaron Fox got a couple of trade ideas. Just want to throw them out there. We've got a devastating injury for Atlanta, which sucks. We had a crazy Warriors OKC game today, an awesome Cat Jokic battle, some other really good games. We'll break down all 11 of those games in the NBA Straya Game Wraps. We've got That's the Night, for mate, Spud of the Night, Better Than Lonzo Ball. We've got we've got the Unpopular Opinion of the Day. We've got OUTBACK Takehouse. We'll be serving up a flame grilled steak. We also have a Shane Heal Shoot Your Shot, Light 'em Up award. Because I just sort of stumbled across like a couple of stats and I'm like, hang on, what's going on here? It's amazing. So that's fun. And then we'll pick and preview the games tomorrow for your Friday. That'll be fun. So I guess we should just bloody well get into it, shouldn't we? Yes, Jim, we should. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. Let's do it. Episode, 1196 of NBA Straya. Let's go.
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Heal.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek. This is Nick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya. You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better, especially if you're Vince Carter. They retired his jersey on the weekend. And they had the TNT, Tuesday night broadcast the other day. And Shaq was like, whoa, why didn't you invite Vince? Vince, why didn't you invite me? And then put him in a headlock. Was giving him a cuddle, but just like put him in a headlock. And I'm like, that just looks wildly uncomfortable and kind of dangerous because Shaq is big. Hey, let's do some news. The way we start every show here at NBA Show is obviously with the daily, it's a whip around, and that's where we do all the news stuff, right? First things first, De'Aaron Fox played today for the Kings, which is pretty fun. As I did mention on yesterday's show, I don't think that's pretty great for the rest of the team. And they lost to Philly, who were on a back-to-back and aren't very good. Anyway, a couple of trade ideas for De'Aaron Fox. First of all, I want you to hit us up in the DMs and just in messages, whatever. Send through where do you want to see him land? Because as I've sort of said, I kind of just want to see him in Orlando. That's just... I get why you'd want to go to San Antonio and hook your little red foxy wagon to Victor Wembanyama. But Orlando or Houston are way better situated already to contend right now. So, I don't know. Just saying. It's a bit of a thing. So, anyway, first things first, I've got three ones that I kind of looked at and went, don't mind that. First one's the easy one. We're sending De'Aaron Fox just to Atlanta. Straight swap for Trae Young. I don't mind it. Right? If Atlanta are just Trae's good, but we're kind of sick of him. I'm just a bit over it. And then Sacramento are at least we still have a half-decent point guard. The trade works. Why not? So have a crack. Anyway, that's the first one. Straight swap for just Trae Young. Fox and Dyson Daniels in that Atlanta backcourt. Trae Young suddenly hanging out with Malik Monk. And the rest of those Kings, I don't know, it feels like a bit of a treading water moment. The weird thing is Atlanta don't really have like control over their own picks, that sort of gear. A couple of other sort of funky things in their future. But anyway, that's just a straight swap. Otherwise, how about the Orlando one that I kind of mentioned, right? I don't know. It's like we have Anthony Black on one hand, right? You've got Anthony Black hanging out, being very young, very raw, but seemingly pretty bloody good. He's not getting paid that much. So you're going to throw in a bit of salary here for this one. How about Johnny Isaac? Could he be finally the one thing that Sacramento has like always wanted? A half-decent bloody wing, right? It's like Keegan Murray, bit taller and way weirder in the brain. Gary Harris as well, just to make all the salaries match up for Fox. And Kevin Huerter. Hang on a second. Don't mind this. Maybe Orlando throw in, like, Orlando have like control of all their first and gear as well. I think they actually have another one coming in from Denver as well. So, I mean, there's a couple of options there for them. But Anthony Black, Johnny Isaac, Gary Harris, and a first for De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter. I mean, this is one of those ones where you go, well, yeah, Orlando need more shooting. It's kind of their thing. Anthony Black, not a noted shooter. Yes, he's probably your point guard of the future, but De'Aaron Fox can also be your point guard of the future next to Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. Hello. And this way, you're not giving up Suggs, Wagner, or Paolo, obviously, for Fox. And you're getting more shooting. And you're getting Fox. And you're kind of giving up things that you don't like. Johnny Isaac is good. Defensively, he's kind of like a pretty key cog in what they do. And they are a very good defensive team. But if you've got Franz, if you've got Paolo, if you've got like just dudes who keep playing instead of getting hurt, like I feel like you can replace the 15, 20 minutes of Johnny Isaac half decently, maybe. Anyway, so that's how we get into Orlando. Don't mind that. And then, of course, the big one, San Antonio. And I've just sort of stuck with like a couple of teams for these very brief trade ideas. I can build some of these out if we want tomorrow. San Antonio, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, and Trey Jones, and Atlanta's first this year from San Antonio for Fox. I don't mind this. Let's go. Just get him over here. Like, Sohan is fine. The big problem is, and I'll get to this when we talk about their game today. It's like, yeah, Keldon Johnson. Oh, but he's good. Is he? Is he? Oh, but Jeremy Sohan was a lottery pick. It's like, is he good? Oh, I don't know yet. Yeah, we'll piss him off. Oh, but we like Trey Jones. Yeah, that's fine. You can like him as much as you want, but he's still like a backup point guard behind Stephon Castle, Chris Paul as well. If you keep Castle in this deal, you're laughing. You put Castle next to Fox. You got Chris Paul still there to teach them the bloody ropes of point guardery, and away we go. Just saying. I don't mind that. Either way, we might build out a couple of other ones tomorrow where we can actually start moving some other pieces around, get a couple of other teams involved. We'll see how we go. But there's 3 tasters for you. We'll see what happens. All right. Other news from today. I mean, there is a bit of chatter about Jimmy Butler heading to Golden State, or at least the framework of this. Jimmy Butler would go to Golden State. Andrew Wiggins would go to Toronto, and Bruce Brown would end up in Miami. That's a hell of a downgrade, isn't it? But anyway, essentially, Golden State are like, maybe we just like move on from the Andrew Wiggins thing. We're going to get Jimmy Butler. I mean, here we are. We're going to get rid of this big, big salary. The thing is, Andrew Wiggins was fantastic today in their win over the Thunder, and you're like, aha, he heard the trade rumors. That's always a good one. But they're also apparently dangling their protected first rounder this year in any sort of other trade talks for the right player. So the thing is, Miami have completely submarined all of their leverage and all their and so is Jimmy Butler, right? In what they're going to get in return for Jimmy Butler, because he's got this $50 million contract he can, opt into next year and then not sign with the team that he lands with. So it's like the team signing him is on a hiding to nothing if he just pisses off. So they're just like, nah, we're not going to give you much, Miami. And if Golden State are like, I don't know, you'll end up with Bruce Brown, we'll give Wiggo to Toronto and we'll do a scoop to do. It's like, oh, God, maybe. And then finally, Maple Jordan can return home and ends up in Toronto. How good's that for Andrew Wiggins? I guess it's good. I don't know. Jimmy Butler on Golden State. It'd be pretty funny. We'll see what happens. The other big one today was Adam Silver floating the idea of 10-minute quarters. Now, In Australia, I think we're all pretty, I don't know, across this, what with the NBL. And he said, I'm a fan of 4 10-minute quarters. I'm not sure how many others are, and putting aside what it means for records and things like that, I think a 2-hour format for a game is more consistent with modern television habits. That's fine. But by the same token, you know what fucks around with like trying to watch an NBA game? How much time it fucking takes to watch an NBA game. It's not like actually the basketball action on the court. It's the fucking around with everything else. Today's game between the Thunder and the Warriors started 17 minutes later than its like mooted start time. 17! That's insane. Could you imagine if the footy was just like, yeah, what is it? We said that the bounce is going to be like 110, but it's actually 130. Fuck it. Like, who cares? I don't know. Everybody. It's just fucking... And then, so this might shock you, but I watch a lot of basketball. And I'll have these moments where I'm like sitting there, I'll be working away, just tapping. And then I'll turn to the other screen and go, what the fuck is going on? Why is this shit still on a game break? And League Pass now has these moments where it's like sometimes it'll just be a couple of the fucking... what is it? The next Captain America ad where it's like Red Hulk and fucking Fly Ye Captain America Man. And they'll run that just like back to back. And then you're like, well, that's fucking annoying. And then it'll just be sitting there on a game break. And you're like, has it gone? Has it started back? And no, like the commercial breaks are taking fucking forever. And then it comes back and you're like, oh, that was just a review. Fuck me dead. And then even the commentators today in the Pelicans Mavs game were just like, why are we reviewing this shit? It was very clearly a 3. Just fucking move on. Then they kept fucking... Anyway. And Adam Silver's like, I don't know why it keeps taking so long to play these games. It's your fucking game, Adam. Just fucking sit down and watch one on TV once. I beg you. Go on. At the same time, do you like the idea of 10-minute quarters? It's crazy when you're actually at an NBL game and you're like, this game is fucking flying. Even at home on the TV, you're watching it just like, Jesus, all right, fucking flying to it. It does make it a lot easier to watch a full actual NBL game, though, because it's the 10-minute quarters, because it just, you know how quickly it's going to go. These NBA ones at the moment are a fucking slog, and this is my job. Anyway, other news, sticking with the streaming and stuff, apparently every NBA game that's going to be televised next year will be part of the new media deal, will also be streamed. Adam Silver was like, we're going to stream everything. So that's all of the ESPN ABC games, all of the NBC games, and all of the Amazon games will be like basically streamed as well, rather than just through the terrestrial NBC, ESPN, ABC stuff. And everyone in Australia is like, yeah, good, I guess. So that's neat. Interesting to see how that works over here. But, I mean, we have to watch all of ours basically streaming anyway, because you kind of shit out of like otherwise. And the other bit on top of that was that Reggie Miller has been tapped to be NBC's lead analyst, which is hilarious because he fucking sucks. So, way to go, NBC. But we got a big name. It's like, did ya? You got the world's most annoying fucking dork. So that's awesome. I'm right here. I would have done it for probably about half of what Reggie Miller is doing it for. I'm just saying, roll the dice, get your mate Jim in. Let's go, NBC. All right. And then the big one today, injuries. LaMelo Ball will be reevaluated in a week after his ankle sprain last, was it Monday? I think it was Monday this week. So that's a bit of a bummer. Charlotte, obviously we're about to talk about this game. They got their ass kicked by Brooklyn. It's just a fucking horror show. Anthony Davis is also going to be reevaluated in approximately a week after they got an MRI on his abdominal muscle, and it is an abdominal strain, which obviously sucks. Anthony Davis has been awesome this year. It's a kick in the dick for Lakers fans, but I mean, if there's a more deserving fan base, I don't know. And the toughest one, though, the Atlanta Hawks. I mentioned this at the top. This is a devastating injury to this team because he was averaging just a lazy 19 and 10 on his way to like probably a top 3 most improved player finish. Jalen Johnson is done for the season for the Hawks. Jesus. So that sucks. The Hawks are currently on a 6-game losing streak anyway. They're 22 and 25. They owe their first to San Antonio. I believe it's a swap this year. Don't quote me on that. But by the same token. Like, that is just absolutely horrible for the Hawks because Jalen Johnson is electric. He's really, really, really fun. They just send their 2025 first rounder to San Antonio. So you can't even tank. Like, it just stinks. Anyway, tough one for the Hawks. This is when they might be like kicking the tires and maybe moving Bogdan. The thing is, they've got Zachary Rissache once he's back from his he came back the other day from his injury. You've got DeAndre Hunter. It's a bit hard, isn't it? Jalen Johnson was awesome. So that sucks. Anyway, righto, let's do some game wraps. Game wraps. 11 games today. We're going to fly through them all. Brooklyn kicked the shit out of Charlotte, 104-83. The Hornets. At home, they shot 33%. It was brutal. They had 17 turnovers. This team is a horror show. They've basically got like that piece of shit Miles Bridges left over. No Josh Green today, as we talk about the Australian Player Watch. Obviously, no LaMelo. Brandon Spindles-Miller's out for the season. This team is cooked. Absolutely cooked. And Ben Simmons put up a double-digit scoring game on them. That's how fucked they are. 10, 6, and 2 for Box Hill Benny. 6 nets in double figures, and one of them wasn't even D-Lo. It was horrible. Brooklyn now moved to 15-33, winning despite themselves almost. And Charlotte at 12-32. Block. Detroit, 119 in Indy, 133. A couple of brouhahas in this. Beef Stew got ejected, trying to fight basically everybody. Siakam and everybody getting into it too. Cade ends up with 32 points, 20 for Malik Beasley, but the D just wasn't there. Obviously, Indy scored 133. No shit, Sherlock. All right. Jim, did Detroit not play much defense when the other team scored 133? Should we fire it up? Ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding. Oh, no! There it is. Of course I did. Siakam had 37, 6, and 4. Halliburton had 37 and 8. Turner ends up with 24 and 7. Shepard hit 4 threes. They went 19 of 33 from downtown. I'm no maths magician, but that's 50%. Just a tough one for Detroit. The fights, the Malice of the Palace vibes, every time these two teams play, I fucking love it. I love Beef Stew just being an absolute lunatic and just going, I want to fight everybody all the time. But at the same time, Indy does have Bloodsport on their team, right? And you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if that's the man you want to fuck with, Beef Stew. It's probably just as well that you didn't get through and try to fight anybody with James Johnson on the other side. So I love Bloodsport. He's awesome. But anyway, Detroit dropped to 23-24 with that loss. Indy up to 26-20 and absolutely flying. Just saying. They're finally clicking. They didn't have Nemhard, but it didn't sort of matter. Johnny Frost got out there for a little bit very early, but still good win for Indy. Toronto kicked the shit out of Washington because Washington are horrible. 106-82. Rap stomped them 31-18 out of the gate. This is at home. Washington, your embarrassment. 19 for Kuzma and nothing else. They were fucked. Scoob had 24 and 4. 8 different Raptors in double figures. This was an ass kicking. Washington are horrible. The Raptors have now, I believe, won 5 on the trot, which is the worst tanking you could ever do, first. And secondly, I mean, it's the East, so why the fuck not try? Wizards are now, 6-40? Is that, oh my God. Oh, the Wiz. They have lost 15 straight. Fold the Wizards. Chicago got their ass kicked in Boston, 122-100. We talked about this on yesterday's show. It was like, I don't know if the Bulls can get this one close. Boston be out for blood. They were. They smoked him in the second quarter. The extreme zinger meal was going ham. He had 16 in the first. He had like 24 in the first half. They're up 16 at the half. They got up like 86-62 in the third quarter, and it was just, the game was over. Chicago, without Zach LaVine, he's out for personal reasons. They had no hope in this one. Zinger ends up with 34. He made 8 threes. It was massive. Jaylen Brown had 28. Derek White had 22. Kobe White had 16 for Chicago, but yeah, cooked, mate. Boston, 33-15 now. Chicago, 20-28, and it is spiraling out of control for this Bulls team. That's a long way under 500. And yeah, like the trade market for Zach LaVine is not going to help you. So you're fucked. Hey, Cleveland went into Miami and kicked the shit out of them too. 126-106. This is a lot of smackdown so far, isn't it? Yes, Jim, it is. Stomping by the Cavs. It felt like a frustration win, right? Like Miami are dealing with all the Jimmy Butler shit. And the Cavs went, that's cute. You guys are fucked. They rested Darius Garland and didn't fucking miss a beat. Donnie had 34 and 6 assists. Ty Jerome had 20 off the bench. He was awesome. I think he had 7 assists as well. Mobley threw in 22 and 15. They got a good Bam game, did the Heat. It was like 21 and 9 for him. They got 22, 5 and 6 from There Goes My Hero. And Terry Rozier was pretty good off the bench too. He had 22. They got out rebounded 47-35. They took 100 shots to 83. Now, just look, in terms of basketball vibes, if you take 17 more shots than the other team, you're probably going to win. Yeah, they shot 54% as well. Cleveland, a 38-9. Miami dropped to 23 and 23. Denver, 112. Knicks, 122. This game was pretty gnarly. Jokic in foul trouble early on. The Nuggets heading into MSG, basically it's sort of full strength. You got Jam and Jamal Murray. You've got Rusty Westbrook starting. Murray had 33 in this game. Kind of like a couple of cheap buckets down the stretch. But the big problem was Jokic's foul trouble early, and it just sort of seems like Karl Anthony Towns might be Jokic kryptonite, ? They've sort of like limited him. This year, the Knicks, just good defense, and I don't know. They got out in transition. They scored off turnovers. The Knicks were flying around and just sort of kept them at arm's length and beat them. Like Michael Porter Jr. is like as useless as tits on a bull at this point. Just imagine if he didn't suck ass. I just imagine that. Rusty had 14, 14, and 4, but just, And Jokic, like what, 17, 6, and 6, but he shot 6 of 15. If Jokic is ever going to be inefficient and you're going to have a good Jamal Murray game, like you're sitting there going, where the fuck is everybody else? And they just didn't do it. It was great work by the Knicks. The Knicks got 30 points and 15 assists for Jalen Brunson. Good on you, Cap. 14 and 10 for Cat. 23 for OG. He was causing all sorts of havoc. And the defense between he and Bridges and Hart was very, 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 very fun to watch. And the Knicks moved to 32 and 16. Denver, 28 and 19. Sacramento, as mentioned, lost in Philly, 117-104. I called the Philly plus 7.5 yesterday, but wow. I did not expect them to win by 13. Maxey crushed it. Kings off their feed. They were 10 of 41 from downtown. That's horrible. And there was this 14-2 run at the end of the third quarter that basically just did the Kings in, and they never recovered. Suva had a pretty useless triple-double. He's back-to-back triple-doubles. He had 13, 14, 11. Only took 6 shots. Geez, Andre Drummond must have shut him down. No. He was going up against Yabu and Adam Boner. Like, what are we doing, Kings? The Suvlaki King. That was just, Jesus. Seriously, it's Yabusele, it's Adam Boner, and not much else. Kings are cooked, I'll tell you that much. Keegan Murray, 17. Fox, 19. 21 for Malik Monk. 19 for DeMar DeRozan there. And it was just a horrible game. The Kings, just shithouse. Like, there's a malaise in a game like that, and that's what it was. Maxey had 30 and 8. He was unreal. Eric Gordon, 14 with his big old moonhead. 15 for Kelly Oubre and 13 for Ricky and Lowry. Love that. 4 straight wins now for Philly. That's great. 19 and 27. Sacramento dropped to 24 and 23. Dallas, that's a bad beat. 137-136. They were like 1.5 point favorites, and fucking CJ McCollum hits a meaningless 3 at the buzzer. Thanks a lot, CJ. Mavs scored 80 points in the second half of this game. Kyrie, but it was mostly PJ Hamilton, Washington. He and Clay just went bang, 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 bang. This was basically like tied, and then they just went, fuck you, check this out. PJ Hamilton, Washington ends up with 25, 14, and 8. Awesome game. Kyrie with a 25, 9, and 6. Gafford, 22 and 12. Clay goes 6 11 from 3. And both teams had 20-plus point scorers. It was insane. Both teams shot over 53% from the floor. It was nuts. Zion had 29, 6, and 7. Very nice. 23 and 8 for CJ. DeJounte Murray had 27, 32 for Trey Murphy. Like, he was awesome. And the Pelicans, it's like just pushing shit uphill. It feels like every game. If you're going to give up 137 to Dallas, though, without Luka, Yeah, you're probably cooked. 26-22 now, Dallas. That's a big win. Pelicans 12-36. Pack her up, boys. Bloody hell. Clippers 128. Spurs 116. Jeez. All right, this is what I sort of mentioned at the top, right? This is the exact sort of game where you watch it and you go, oh, that's right, the Spurs. They're just not that good. Like, they're just not. Like, Vassell had 19 in this game. Wemby is like, just go, I'm fucking 7'40", but check this out. I'm going to get out-rebounded by Zoobs, and I'm going to keep shooting threes, even though I'm not hitting too many of them. He goes 23, 12, and 4 does Wemby. And you're like, I don't know. It's just not enough. And Zoobs was fantastic. Wemby ends up what? 8 of 16, 3 of 6 from downtown, and was in foul trouble. And you're like, he's still figuring this out as our man, Wemby. Stephon Castle was awesome again with 20. But the Clippers shot over 52% and they shot 50% from three. I think it was 12 or 24, right? So they had a 57-30 rebounding advantage. 57-30. So they took 91 shots. The Spurs take 87. The only thing that sort of kept them in it was that they hit 14 threes and got to the line 25 times. So I don't know. The Clips, it was all sort of tied up, and then they just gave up the ghost down the stretch because they don't have the firepower to keep up with like a team like, you know, the Harden, Zoobs, Kawhi, Norm Powell Clippers. And that's a fucking worry if you want to make the playoffs. So I don't know. This is probably why you look at this and go, yeah, having Darren Fox probably would help. Next to Castle, off we go. Norm had 27. Kawhi had 27. Zoobs had 21 and 22 rebounds. Absolutely unreal game for him. And 21 points and 11 assists for James Harden. Clippers look great. The problem is the Spurs are just a bit shit. They're 20 and 24. The Clippers now moved to 27 and 20. And I think I mentioned this on yesterday's show about the Pacific Division. They're probably still my pick to win it. And I feel no different today. Minnesota, well, they just beat Phoenix, who are in the Pacific Division and were shit. 121-113. Gross game for the Suns. They're up. They're up they're up 12 at one point and just kind of slowly, inexorably shit themselves. And it was kind of weird to watch it, right? So, I don't know. They lose the lead in the third quarter and never got it back. Like, at the end of the third, the Wolves just sort of, like, imposed their will on them. And the Suns, like, sort of rolled over and showed their belly. Like, it was Jaden McDaniels, Ant-Man just sort of went ham at the end of that third. They just went up and slapped him in the head, and the Suns did nothing. Like, KD was trying to fight them a little bit. And Booker and he like sort of like had a bit of a crack. The problem is everyone else on the Suns is shit. So like they got 33 from KD, 28 from Booker. Beal coming off the bench threw in 17. Grayson Allen hit a couple of threes, ends up with 11. And there was fuck all else. It was bad. They're bad. They're just shit. The Wolves shot 56% in this game. Julius Randle, 28, 7, and 6. It was awesome. But it was Ant-Man, 4 blocks, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. This is the Ant-Man that I was fucking looking forward to at the start of the year. Halfway through the season. Let's see more of these ones, can we? 23 for Nicky Alexander-Walker. You had 14 for McDaniels. Dillingham was handy as well. Minnesota are now 26 and 21. Phoenix, they had been looking pretty good, 24 and 22. And you're just looking at this team going, I am uninspired. And then finally, the big upset. Golden State beat the Oklahoma City Thunders in a wildly rambunctious game. Steph Curry, he's still got that juice for the big game. They rested him yesterday. And they're like, well, we need to play SGA in the Thunder. So we'll just, keep Steph on cotton wool. SGA has 50-2 in this game. 26 for J-Dub. And this is my big question when it comes to OKC. When it comes to fucking nut crunch time, you've got J-Dub, you don't have Chet back yet, right? Isaiah Hartenstein can't get a bucket in this game. He goes 2 of 10 for his 4 points. He has 18 rebounds and 6 assists, though. But is Chet going to be enough of that sort of extra scoring punch when you need it? Because they had Isaiah Joe hit 5 of 10 from 3, but missed really, really big ones down the stretch. He ends up with 17. And when Cason Wallace is not hitting shots, when Dort's going fucking 2 of 8, when Aaron Wiggins can't hit a shot as well, they went 9 of 39 from 3. It was just, and that's with Isaiah Joe hitting 5 of 10. Yeesh. So that's 4 of 29 for everybody else. That is abysmal shit, right? And that's kind of the thing when you go, oh, yeah, it's nice having all this depth, but fuck, it'd be also nice if someone could hit a shot when we needed it. J-Dub 26 and 7 went 12 of 26. SGA with the 52 goes 16 and 29, 18 and 21 on the line. And it was all balanced out by the Golden State Warriors, their Wiggins. Maple Jordan himself. Andrew Wiggins has 27, 21 for Steph, 15 for Gary Payton II, including just like putting his nuts on Isaiah Hartenstein's head right at the end as the dagger dunk. And Podemski with 11. 9 for Dennis Schroeder, I am Drummond Rondo. They sort of just got it done everywhere. And the Thunder just couldn't hit a shot. They shot 40% for the game. The Warriors basically shot 50%. And that was kind of it. 15 turnovers to 11. Thunder win the turnover battle, and they just couldn't quite get over the hump because they didn't have like that third person really like Isaiah Joe's great, but he's just sort of, your 3-point shooting sniper. Golden State manufactured good looks out of absolute bullshit, and it really felt like, okay, so he's like, well, we'll let Aaron Wiggins shoot another 3. Oh, Isaiah Joe's gone cold. Maybe I'll have a crack. Kaysen Wallace. Is your name Kaysen or Carson? Let's find out. And he was very much Carson today, 1 of 5, 0 of 3 from downtown. So, tough one for OKC. An amazing display of grit from the Golden State Warriors. 24 and 23 now the Warriors. They desperately needed that win. 37 and 9 the Thunder dropped to. Tough one. Now, let's do an NBA Straya Pro performance of the night.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
SGA had 52 and he lost. It was brutal. This is the thing. You sort of look at this go, the Thunder are just so deep and so good. It's like, the good part is the thing that worries me because it's actually like this sort of a little bit of, it's not a disturbing trend. They're fucking 37 and 9. But when it's SGA and J-Dub doing almost everything, right? That's when it starts getting real sketchy. And that's kind of like the thing with Boston. It's like, they've got Derek White. They've now got Zinger. They've got Giroux. You've got proven dudes who can step up. OKC's role players aren't quite at the proven dudes level. Dort is just such a fucking trick or treat dude, right? Bit of a rough one anyway. So, good stuff by SGA, but it just wasn't enough. The other ones, the 34 for the extreme, Zinger Mill, very nice. But how about this trio of point guards? Brunson with a 30-point, 15-assist, 4-rebound game. Absolutely instrumental in leading that Knicks win over the Nugs. Maxey, 30 and 8 with a block, shot 12 of 24. Awesome upset win against the Kings. And Tyrese Halliburton, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. Absolutely carved him up. And, of course, Steph with his 21. Very nice. Ant-Man, though, what a game that was. 4 blocks, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Absolutely took it to the Suns. Zero fucking fear of Booker and KD. Loved it. Awesome, awesome day of NBA. And those are some knives. That's a hell of a bunch of performances. Zinger had 34-11. That was awesome. Hit 8 threes. How about Spud of the night, though?
Spud, 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 it is Spud of the night.
Spud of the night. We had a couple of big spuds and a couple of really fun ones too because, I don't know, KJ Simpson and Nick Smith Jr. both went 1 of 10. Brutal. My favorite, though, was Jordan Poole. Go 1 of 9. Yeesh. Isaiah Hartenstein, hello, goes 2 of 10. So does Keon Ellis for the Kings. It's like, I don't like that your team goes as Keon Ellis goes. Like, that's probably bad. Anyway, there was a couple of other shocking ones that I really appreciated, though, because Aaron Naismith played 32 minutes, went 0 of 4, had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block, though. So he did a little bit of something. Whereas Amir Coffey played 22 minutes, went 0 of 2, and had 1 rebound and 1 block. That's just getting your cardio in. Like, these are the bloody, the Tony Snell All-Stars, aren't they? Daquan Jeffries in Charlotte. He played 21 minutes, went 0 of 1, and had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and a steal, and that was it. That is absolutely brutal gear. Otherwise, I would very much like to thank, however, Maxi Strus, because he actually stepped up and shot. Yeah! Chill! Woo! Ooh, Maxi Struce, more like Maxi 311. Love that for him, and I love that for me. Was he the only one who actually shot 311? I think he may have been. Just checking the stats. Yeah, he was. Anyway, thanks, Maxi Struce. Who's old mate? No mates.
Old mate, no mate.
Old mate, no
mate.
mate.
Old mate, no mate.
Old mate, no mate.
Old mate, no mate.
Old mate, no mate.
Who's got no mates today? Chris Finch got kicked out of that Wolves game today, Wolves Suns, just for kind of muttering under his breath, like while the refs, like he'd been arguing with the ref, and then sort of like, yeah, you fucking idiot. And the ref's like, all right, that's it, off you go. Chris Finch, I don't think he'd ever been kicked out of a game. Like, that was brutal gear, especially if he was kind of just saying it to himself. And I'm like, oh, that's an old mate, no mates. Like, that ref is just fucking hanging to kick you out. Wemby, when he tried to fight Zoobs, felt very old mate, no mates, because he's just like fucking getting his fucking giant Shelob Lord of the Rings spider fucking body up off the floor to try and charge down Zoobs. And a couple of his mates try to jump in front of him, and then he sort of runs into the back of KIWI, who's like, what the fuck's going on? And like Wemby just sort of quits. And then, of course, Beef Stew just getting into it, like with Indy, that was awesome. He's like, oh, mate, no mates, because like his mates are like, oh, fuck. Like, we've all got that one loose unit mate who you just like, this fucking dude, he's going to get my head kicked in. If he keeps talking, I'm fucking, nah, don't invite him. He's going to arc up at somebody. We're all going to look like assholes. We might get kicked out. Just Beef Stew is that guy. Like, he's fun to have around sometimes, but in a controlled environment. Like, at a mate's house. But if you're out with him, you're like, fuck, here we go. Oh, that's what Beef Stew is. He's definitely old mate, no mates for me. Hey, also, Russell Westbrook is now going to start copying a little bit more of the hate because Jam and Jamal Murray's a bit old mate, no mates, because even bloody his coach, Michael Malone, is like, yeah, Westbrook and Jokic, they've got the best two-man, like, fucking kismet in the NBA. And Jam and Jamal Murray's like, hey, hang on, fucking what about me? I had 33 points today. Yeah, tough one. And also, they've now lost 3 straight with Westbrook as a starter. Just saying. Pantsing of the night. I mean, the Wizards lost to Toronto by like 1 billion fucking points today for their 15th straight loss. Like, that is just an all-time bunch of pantsings, right? Toronto aren't very good, but they're that much better than like the shitbird Wizards. They beat them by 24 points in Washington. That's fucked. You're shit. KD blocked the shit out of Jalen Clark as well. He's like, Jalen Clark's like, this guy's old. Check this out. Oh, fuck. No, he's blocked it into the stands. But my favorite was obviously Gary Payton II just putting his nuts right on Isaiah Hartenstein's forehead, basically, as he dunks the dagger fucking at the end of that game. It's like, oh, that's tough. That's very tough for Hartenstein. Yeah. Anyway, better than Bronny James.
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
Coming for everybody. He's back. Ricky Council. You know how much I loved him yesterday? He's awesome still. Lonzo goes 2 of 8 from the floor today for 9 points, 3 turnovers, and 4 assists. Ricky Council, the 4th, again, wins better than Bronny James and Lonzo Ball and Ben Simmons today. Ends up with 13 points. He was awesome. Plus 28. 3 of 6 from the floor, 6 of 6 at the line. Ricky Council, we fucking love you. This is a Ricky Council, the 4th, fan podcast now. I love him. That's some legendary shit. All right, let's do a bunch of yeah-nahs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're
Straya.
listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
All right. You ready for some yeah-nahs? I am. Hey, should Zoobs be an all-star? Yeah, nah. Shit, maybe. The big question is, are you going to put him over Jaren Jackson Jr., Alpi Şengün, who's had a bit of a down couple of weeks, so you can understand that one, and the Souvlaki King, Domantas Sabonis, because they're like the other sort of bigs behind Jokic and AD and stuff, right? where you sort of go, oh, Ant-Man, Booker. You sort of go through your the rest of your West reserves for your All-Star. The fact that it's still East and West, I yelled about this on Tuesday's show. Oh, we're going to name the East and West reserves. You've got 3 fucking teams, you idiots. This is just say a number and fill it with the best players. Fuck me. Anyway, still, Zoobs has been way better, I think, than anybody realizes. Like, the entire season, he and Harden have been fan-fucking-tastic together. And it's been one of my just, like, kick in the dick fantasy things. I had him last year, and he's sneakily fantastic. And then this year, he's averaging a 15 and 12 and, like, just crushing it. He's shooting a lazy 61.4% from the floor, averaging a 15.1 point, 12.6 rebound, 1.2 block per game line. That's awesome. I mean, his team is better than fucking Suvlaki King, so I put him there. I'd probably still put Triple J over him. He's been fantastic. Şengün also maybe is a little bit better, but pretty interesting. Hey, are Phoenix going to do anything this year? Yeah, nah. They're fucking nah. It's so frustrating watching them just go, like, this last little bit, they've had like a couple of nice wins where they beat the Clippers the other day, right? It was a really hard-fought win. They almost blew it at the end, though. They kicked the shit out of the Wizards. They beat the Nets. Cool. They got their asses kicked by the Cavs. They snuck by the Pistons. They snuck by the Wizards prior to that. Like, their defensive, like, the lack of defense where they just let Ant-Man carve them up today. Jaden McDaniels carve them up. Nick Alexander-Walker carving up. They're just not deep enough. Like, they're just a bit shit. Like, Booker and KD should be enough just to get you by a bunch of teams, but yeah, they're not going to do any damage in the playoffs. How about the Wolves? Yeah, nah. This gave us a little bit of a glimpse into, right matchup. Hang on. Maybe there's a little bit of a heartbeat. But I still feel like, you ever just like look at a team when you watch them and there's just one thing that just sort of feels super janky? That's what the Wolves are now. Like last year, they sort of had figured it out. And then this year, now they got Julius Randle in place of Cat. It was kind of working in with Dante, but then he's out for a fucking indefinite amount of time with his busted finger or whatever it was. And you're like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. I think they'll be dangerous, but unless Ant-Man just like really cranks it up and just keeps having games like he did today, I think they're a bit fucked. And the final one, bonus, is that it for Atlanta for this year? Yeah, nah, probably. Like, they were super inconsistent anyway with Jalen Johnson. Now they're on this 6-game losing streak. Dyson Daniels, Trae Young, DeAndre Hana, Onyeka Okongwu, Bogdan. I just don't think they've, like, most of their stuff kind of hinged on Jalen Johnson just being really fucking good a lot of the time. And without him for the rest of the season, yeah, I think they're cooked. Unpopular opinion of the day.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Kind of combines with an Outback Takehouse. Just a couple of other trade ideas. It's Thursday at Outback, and you know what that means? Oh, yeah. 2 for 1 blooming onions. No prick in Australia knows what the fuck these things are. What is it? Some sort of deep-fried onion made to look like a flower, you fat yank dickheads? No one in Australia's ever fucking heard of this. What are you talking about? Blood out your ass. Either way, 2 for 1. Only at Outback. And today's Flame Grill take is, I'd be trading Zion Williamson as soon as fucking possible. To Detroit. Let's go. That's right, the Pistons need to trade for Zion or Jimmy Butler ASAP. Only at Outback. So this is, you know, I keep yelling about this this Pelican sort of situation. And Zion and his diet, basically his stats are the same as his diet. Empty calories. He looks like he's in fucking awesome shape right now. The problem is the Pelicans are fucked. What did I say, 12 and 36? Is that right? That's like just... It's either way, like 12 and 32 or some shit. Like, they're absolutely 12 and 36. They're fucked. Like, they're not making the play-in. They're done. You got Zion sitting there, It's like, oh, he means so much to the city. Does he? No one in New Orleans cares about fucking basketball. We've known this for years and we keep pretending otherwise. It's fucking stupid. But I don't know, like they've got like this fun, weird core of defensive wings, CJ McCollum, DeJounte Murray, Zion, Brandon Spindles Ingram. Try and just like get a king's ransom out of Detroit maybe for him. I don't know. Someone like that. Someone who thinks that basically if we compare this dude with our dude, we're going to the moon kind of vibes. And you feel like Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Zion, still a bit of a wonky fit just because the Jaden and the Caden fit, Cade and Jaden, is always going to be a bit wonky, I reckon. But there is Zion in there. I mean, Detroit, they've never had a problem with trading for a former number one pick who's had injury histories, have they? Have they? Blake Griffin. Oh, God. Yeah, don't do that. Jimmy Butler if the price is right, I reckon, for Jimmy Butler, just go get him, Detroit. Fuck it. Tobias Harris over me. No. We'll give you Tobias Harris for Jimmy Butler. Jimmy, come play for us. Come hang out with Cade Cunningham. That'll be fun. Suddenly Detroit become like this really randomly dangerous floater, right? At the bottom of the East in the playoffs. Fuck yeah. I'd do that. Let's go. Pistons. But Zion, look, I think it feels like you look at a game like today where they can't get over the Mavs without Luka, and you're like, so you don't have Spindles Ingram, you don't have a bunch of your wings, you're going nowhere this year. Do you just fucking just jack it all in, sell high on Zion because you can't be fucked dealing with all his injury history and all that sort of shit? I kind of think, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, peace. Like, you know me, if you listen to this show, I've never been the biggest Zion fan because you just look at him and you go, that's great. He's got crazy athleticism, but he's built like a brick shit house. How long do you reckon that's going to last? Fucking not long. I'll tell you. All right, let's take a quick break. Be back with Australian Player Watch right after.
This is Chris Anstey, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, time for NBA Straya's Daily Australian Player Watch. It is Thursday, January 30, and we had a bunch of the Aussies in action today. We'll start with Box Hill Benny. That's right, Ben Simmons was back after dealing with some of his back tightness. They did have a massive win over Charlotte. Box Hill Benny got out there and he had 10 points. Nice double-figure scoring game. You'll have to see that. 6 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 turnovers, and 4 fouls. He shot 4 or 6 from the floor, though, which is pretty good. You'll take that. 2 or 3 the free throw line as well. 2 or 3. Not bad, Benny. Not bad. Josh Giddey had a bit of a rougher day, I'll tell you that much, as the Bulls got smash-merated by the Boston Celtics. He played 26 minutes today, our man Giddey. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal. 1 of 4 from downtown, though. Not that great. 4 of 8 from the floor overall. 1 of 2 at the line. He was a minus 15. Jeez. They did lose by 22, so that sort of checks out. In that game against Brooklyn, we obviously got no Josh Green. Talked about that on yesterday's show. Out with right foot soreness. So hopefully Greeny's okay. But it did mean that he didn't get to go up against his old mucker, Box Hill Benny. Johnny Furphy did get a bit of a run today, though. That was kind of nice. The injury bug has beset the Pacers once more. They were out without Andy Nemhard and co. So Johnny Tunes Furphy, in that big 133-119 win over Detroit, played 4 minutes. It's like, he's out there early, and he didn't get much more of a run. Thanks a lot, Rick Carlisle. He had 1 steal and 1 foul, was a minus 6 in his 4 minutes. He did have 21-9-2 for the Mad Ants yesterday, though, so that's something pretty good. Jingling Joe Ingles copped a did not play coach's decision in the win over Phoenix for the Wolves. The 121-113, big win for the Wolves. I'll tell you that much. But Jingles, no go there. Alex Dukas also copped a did not play coach's decision in the big loss for the Thunder against the Warriors. And a bit of extra news for you. Dante Exum was upgraded from out to doubtful for today's game where the Mavs beat the Pelicans. He still didn't play, but Jason Kidd reckons he'll be out there sometime on this 5-game road trip for the Mavs. That's very nice. And I'll leave you with a quick stat today as well. Our man Dyson, the Vacuum Daniels. That's right, the Great Barrier Thief, the Bendigo Bandit. If he keeps up his pace at the moment, Dyson Daniels will be the youngest player ever in the history of the NBA to average 3 steals a game across the season. At the moment, He's right there with Magic Johnson. Jeez, back in 1980, 80, 81, he averaged 3.4 a game. So Dyson be the youngest ever to average over 3 a game if he can pull that off, which would be pretty nice. And that is your Aussie player wrap for Thursday. All right, there you go. Australian Player Watch. Good times. How about a Shane Hill shoot your shot, light 'em up award?
This is Shane Hill, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
Hell yeah, you sure are. And I'll tell you what, some of the Shane Hill shoot your shot, light 'em up award. We didn't have that drop on in the fancy studio at the moment, just saying. But I still wanted to throw a hammer in there. We did have the hammer recipe yesterday, which was a fun bit of the show. But CJ McCollum, I mentioned at the top of the show in the game wraps. Bad beat. If you had the Mavs minus 1.5, he hits a stupid 3. They end up losing by 1. But he's now broken the franchise record for threes for the New Orleans Pelicans. CJ McCollum. Feels like he's been there like 2 years. He's hit 629 total threes for the Pels as your franchise leader. That is insane. Amazingly enough, CJ McCollum has hit 1,923 threes in his career. And if then you add today's, it's probably like what? 1,926. Amazingly, he's very, very, very close to catching J.R. Smith, J.J. Redick, Dirk, and then Jason Kidd. And then it's into the 2K club. There's only 17 members of the 2,000 made threes club as well. And CJ is very close to reaching that one too, which is kind of crazy because you don't really think of him as an all-time great three-point shooter or at least even an all-time volume three-point shooter, but he is. And then comes the awesome one. You know who the 17th most made threes of all time belongs to? Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield. Bloody Buddy is 17th all time of made threes. He's made 2,044. And he's only done that in 678 games. That clearly outstrips everybody else behind him. Like, no one's even fucking touching that because obviously Buddy comes at the exact moment of the three-point explosion and all he does is jack threes. But to hit 2,044, you're like, Buddy Hield has hit that many fucking threes? Holy shit. That's amazing. So at only 678 games versus like the entire list of actual like sort of games played to get to that sort of level. Like you think about Kyle Korver ended up hitting 2,450. He played 1,232 games. Buddy's at 678. That's incredible. Reggie Miller played 1,389 games for his 2,560. Bang. That's chaos. So the other ones, I guess, are Clay and Dame. And Dame's played 880 and Clay's 834. And they're at the 2,700 and 2,600 mark. So Buddy's got a little bit of the ways in, 200 games to catch up to them. But by the same token, like, he could probably catch that sort of mark at that point. So it's going to be weird when you turn around and like Buddy Hield is like 5th all time in made threes. And that is a Shane Hill. Like, you know that Shane Hill, if he'd been transported into Buddy Hield territory, he would have probably hit more than that as well. Just saying. Righto. It's also Thursday. What do we do on Thursdays? We do a bit of a KIWI corner. Just a quick check-in with Steven Adams Brew. He missed the game the other day, resting a leg, but he did play against Boston. He had 4 points, 4 rebounds. And back on Sunday, he had 14 points, easily his season high, as the Rockets just dealt with the Cavs, right? 14-4. He was absolutely awesome in that one. 2 assists and a block as well. Bloody good for Steven Adams. And then after that Tuesday game, he's been rested. So on the back-to-back, I think it was, that the Rockets played, which we saw Jock Landale playing. So good on you, Steven Adams Brew. Oh, no problem, Jim. That's a pretty good game I had. Hey. All right. Good stuff. Let's do a Paddy Mills Game Day, Ball Game Day Twitter check-in. I think we've actually got a couple of other updates from other folks other than Paddy, but we'll see if Paddy's throwing anything up there. Paddy. There he is. League fits, big cozy boots and 2 lattes is peak pregame vibes. I don't know about this trend on the internet, like big cozy boots. It's like, just say big ass cozy boots. You fucking cowards. Anyway, Paddy looks sharp as. Those are some big Uggs. Just going to get some coffees. And then he's getting pushed by Andrew Wiggins. Oh, he's looking staunch. Andrew Wiggins trying to back down Patty Mills, and he was not backing down. But then Wiggins kicked it out, and whoever that was on the Warriors hit the three. Anyway, good stuff. Patty Mills, good to see you back on IG. Right, let's do some game previews for tomorrow. Game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. How's it all going? Not bad. I mean, we actually had the Chris Anderson drop before. That was good. I had a chat with him, hang out, and a couple of beers with him yesterday. It was really fun. Just talking things, hoops and NBL and NBA and stuff. Always fun. Good hang. Go check out his pub, the Hotel Trentham, one of the great pubs. We were hanging out at one of the great Melbourne pubs as well, actually, the Union Hotel. So yeah, good times. Anyway, let's do it. Tomorrow we've got 5 games. We've got the Lakers at Washington. Now, the Washington Wizards got their heads kicked in by a Toronto Raptors team that's not very good. The Lakers are 6.5 point favorites in Washington. I think the Lakers can do that. Right? Even without AD, I think they'll be okay. Let's go Lakers. Atlanta at Cleveland. Cleveland on a back-to-back having played in Miami. Atlanta, however, without Jalen Johnson, without a bunch of other dudes as well, I still kind of feel like Cleveland will be way too good for them. They're 9.5 point favorites at home, but Atlanta on this 6-game losing streak already, as I've mentioned. The Cavs are very good. So we're going to go the Cavs. Minnesota at Utah. So the Wolves, having just sort of like, eventually manhandled Phoenix, are 7.5 point favorites in Utah. This all hinges for me on who plays for the Jazz. So this might be a bit of a changed pick as of tomorrow morning. I'll probably go the Wolves at the moment, -7.5, because they're good, and Utah are bad. But if Utah end up with Sexman, Keontae, Lowry, John Collins, it's a tall cocktail, and a couple of their other dudes actually playing, maybe, but we'll check the injury report tomorrow morning before we do any of the other picks. But still, at the moment, it's the Wolves. Then Houston at Memphis. Yes, mate. How good is this game? We've actually had a couple of examples of this game already this year, and they've delivered. They've delivered a lot. It's been a really, really fun series, like Memphis, Houston, because I think they've played twice already. 3 times already. Rockets beat them 120-118, 119-115, and then so those were the last 2 matches. It was like mid-Jan, and all the way back in October they kicked their ass 128-108. So Houston have won all 3. The Grizzlies are 4.5 point favorites to win this one at home. I think the Grizzlies win. I think the Rockets cover, +4.5. The defense of Houston at the moment is just absolutely next level. And then, finally, Orlando at Portland. A very strange matchup, right? It does feel like Orlando might be going into Portland and going, interesting couple of backup bigs you've got there. Be a real shame if someone took them off your hands, wouldn't it? What do you need? You need a Denver first-round pick maybe this year? What do you reckon? And away they go. I like Portland, however, +5.5 against the Magic. You know me, I love the Magic. But the way that they lost that Miami game in double overtime the other day, and now go all the way west, cross country, one of the biggest road trips in the NBA. Portland have just been feisty of late. Sheridan Sharp playing, Anthony Penny-Simons playing, Klingon and Time Lord handy. I think Portland, Denny Avdija is playing out of his fucking skin as well, BT Dubs. Jeremiah Grant playing. I think Portland can keep this one close-ish. They're 5.5 point underdogs at home. We're going to go the Blazers. There you go. Interesting 5-game slate tomorrow. Should be fun. And we will be back to wrap it all up for you on NBA Straya, because that is it for today. We'll be back on deck tomorrow. In the meantime, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey IG, TikTok, YouTube. And of course, the big one is obviously, I've got the link in the show description if you are of the predilection to follow my tips and vibes or whatever. So the picks that I make there, they all go up on Dabble. Go check that out as well. The link is in the show description. Bang in the code NBA Straya. Laughing. You'll see you can follow them all. Check it out. Sign up if you want. If that's what your vibe is, do your thing. But yeah, I don't think I pushed that enough. I probably should. Anyway, get around NFL Australia as well. Myself and Gaz with our big Super Bowl. It's a sort of look-ahead episode this week where we wrap up the championship week, but it was a really fun week, so go check that out. Get around the Cricket Today podcast, the Aussies in Sri Lanka as well, the BBL wrap, all that sort of stuff. The boys are all around that. Football today, hold all tickets. There's a new one that went up today, and that's right, AFL today will be back very, very soon. Check us a rating, review on your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever app you use on your Android phone. Tell a mate, share it, do whatever you have to do. Get people listening to the show. This is fucking nut crunch time for the NBA. We've got trade deadline in a week and a touch. And then we've got the All-Star. We've got heaps of shit going on. It's going to be awesome. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song, They Rule, So Do, House Hats, Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinating Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, Iowa, Sextrato, Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show, so smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, Face Apple Music. However you listen to your tunes, follow your bands, do so. NBA Straya supports Australian bands, so should you. And that's it. Fun one today. Back on deck tomorrow. Big Friday episode, big weekend preview. We'll talk out some more De'Aaron Fox trade gear. He might be traded by tomorrow, who knows. Either way, we'll talk to you then, you dickheads. This is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And let us now.